Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's a mentally unwell Michelle.
And it rhymes too. You're
I
mentally unwell
know.
and you're an artist. That's pretty common, frankly.
Yeah, I am stereotypical at best.
Jesus, could you be any more basic, Michelle?
Okay. Well, now that you ask, you have been getting me bullied
Lord.
this week. You've
Oh,
gotten me bullied
I got you
because
bullied? How did I
yep,
get you bullied?
because you sent me a Tool music video. And then I discovered Tool at the age of 34. And I've never listened to Tool. And now I've had Tool on repeat. And my husband is mocking me for entering the era that he experienced 20 years ago. I have created a
That's fair.
playlist, and you're going to hate this. It is Tool, A Perfect Circle, and Fall Out Boy. And they shuffle in and out. And going from Schism to the new Apocalypse, Love to Get Whatever. I forgot the name of the song because I'm doing it on the spot. But going from like that to the other one is a great experience. So I have like the ultimate playlist of Fall Out Boy and Tool and A Perfect Circle.
Well,
So thank you for introducing me to Tool. That's
Here's
a
what
pretty
I
cool
could-
band. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's pretty indie.
Michelle, I've been listening to Tool longer than John has.
Yeah.
I got my
Most
first
people
Tool. Yeah, I got my first Tool record in 1994. 30 years ago. No, do you understand that one video that I sent you though, the very first one? I don't want to give too much
Oh,
away
yeah.
because it's about another movie that we've talked about. It was, relates to stop motion. Look, we're talking about stop motion animation in that movie and a lot of Tool music video, but so you get where I was coming from, right?
Yes,
Like, I was
absolutely. Yeah, and
immediately
that's why
like-
it kicked me on this like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I like Tool music videos, and then I
They're
just watched a bunch of music videos.
Their guitar
So
player Adam Jones, before the band took off, he worked in like movie special effects. Like I think he worked on Terminator and a couple of other things. But yeah, they have almost every music video they've done is stop motion animated, and then also kind of combined with some live action bits. Especially there's a video for a song called I believe it's Enema. I believe it's the title track from not the title track. It's something from the Enema album, and I don't remember which one it is, but it's this hybrid of live action and stop motion, and it really reminded me of that movie. I have to ask Robert Morgan at some point how much of an influence Tool music videos were on just inspiring him to get into, because here's the thing, his first full stop motion project was in 1997, right? Which would have been perfect, like that would have been prime Tool's popular, famous, well-known, crazy fucking animated music video time. And so I figured there's got to be some connection there. But
Yeah. I'm glad that stop motion came out because then it helped me find Tool. And seriously, it's just been on repeat, and I keep getting bullied by my husband because he's like, I listened to this when I was just driving around at the age of 16 with nothing to do. And I was like, well, I'm going to go drive around with nothing to do at the age of 34 and blast it in my car now.
yeah,
I told him I really want to buy like a tie-dye poncho and some incense and some black lights. I was like, oh man, this makes me feel.
Here's the thing you need to understand about Tool, Michelle, is the first 10 to 12 years of Tool are significantly different from what you've gotten. Like, they're now like this weird sort of hybrid between like a spacey prog rock metal band and like a hippie jam band. But there's an element of it. For me personally, they like anything they've done for the last 20 years doesn't really work for me. But the first 3 or 4 albums, right up until and including Lateralis, are really good. This is not a Tool podcast, but we're going to talk about it.
I am looking forward to going through the entire history of Tool in the span of a week and be like, man, I liked them when they were just new and starting out on Monday, and now I've made it to Saturday, and I'm in their newer stuff, and it's not the same.
If you're gonna make that journey, I would definitely strongly just do it in chronological order. Start with the Opiate EP, and then Undertow and Anima, and then Lateralis, and
Well, I guess
then
I
from
figured out what I'm doing today. I'm
yeah.
excited. Playing Graveyard
uh,
Keeper and listening to Tool.
Side note, by the way, as long as we're talking about stop motion and all that sort of stuff, I just made a social media post about it a moment ago while as we're recording this. But I've been kind of obsessed with stop motion and Robert Morgan since we saw that movie, and basically everything, every short project the guy has ever done, at least that has an IMDb credit, is available on his YouTube channel. We made a post about it. There's a link in the comments of those posts on both Facebook and Instagram. You can watch his entire back catalog in about 90 minutes. And if you dug stop motion, and if you just like stop motion animation, strongly recommend you go check that stuff out. The man is he's twisted in very delightful ways. But man, I saw Michelle sent me a link to one thing which, as I discovered, is actually sort of it's a special feature that was made for the DVD of a German movie that I've never seen or heard of, but apparently it was made by the guy who made Necromantic. And so once I understood that, I was like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense now. But man, there's some physical trauma in that made me, oh my God.
That's why I didn't think it was on YouTube. Because
I'm
the
surprised.
one that I sent
I'm surprised it's on YouTube too. How have they gotten? I think I have to wonder if maybe simply that it's stop motion animation is the only reason nothing's been done about it, because holy shit.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
intense.
starting to wonder if maybe my mental unwellness has anything to do with the current Robert Morgan and Tool obsession.
No,
or maybe that's what's healing me,
possibility.
and I would be in a way worse position.
No, there's no way that diving headlong into negative imagery could possibly have a bad influence on your attitude.
No, definitely
no
not.
way.
And I just started playing Graveyard Keepers, or Keeper singular, where I'm a dude who might have died, might not have died. I don't know. I just started it today, and now I'm keeping a graveyard of corpses, and I have to take their flesh to sell at the local butcher, and take their bones to make things, and then keep their graves nice and well kept. So yeah, I might be in a mood right now.
So it's like Animal Crossing, but for corpses.
Like Stardew Valley, but for corpses.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Very similar. It's so Stardew Valley, but with dead people. I'm loving it. I'm day one and loving it.
Fabulous. Guys, this is not a Robert Morgan podcast or video game podcast. We did come here today to talk about something that has been on our agenda for a while now. I believe this was a listener request, was it not?
That is correct. This one came from Leo, our email buddy, because nobody knows except Leo. So hey, Leo.
Yeah,
you popped up a couple weeks ago to say that you liked the episode where I got drunk. I got a nice little smile out of that. So we read it. I think I forgot to respond because I was hungover, But
yeah, that'll happen. But no, we had some open weeks this month, and decided we wanted to catch up on some listener requests. We've done some stuff for ourselves over the last couple of months, and now we want to dive in and do some stuff for you guys. What are we talking about today, Michelle?
The Devil's Candy from 2015.
The Devil's Candy, Michelle. When this had you seen this before?
Yes. I do not remember when or how or why, but as I started watching it, things started coming back. I couldn't have told you like what was about to happen in the story, but I was like, oh, I remember this part and this part and this part. So I know I've seen it. Once I realized Ethan Embry starred in it, that's probably why I have a small obsession with Ethan Embry. Can't Hardly Wait is one of my favorite comedies.
Oh, dude,
of all
TV
time.
Player is one of it's literally the only thing I know Ethan Embry from besides this is TV Player. Because first of all, it's a fabulous movie, and second of all, the dude never has a name, and I made it through the entire movie without realizing they never told me the guy's name. It's fabulous. Sorry, spoilers about that thing you do.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That thing you do? You've never seen That Thing You Do?
No.
That's a Tom Hanks movie about the band?
Ooh, no, I have not. I
Oh
just found it
yeah.
on IMDb. I love Tom Hanks. He makes me cry in
Oh,
everything.
Michelle,
I'm
watch
adding
that
it to my
movie.
list.
Oh my god,
Absolutely.
Tom Hanks wrote and directed it as well. That's like that was the big thing about that movie.
Well, shit.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm gonna watch this. Absolutely. I love Tom
it's
Hanks. I love Ethan Embry. Liv Tyler, Charlize Theron. Okay, I'm down.
yeah, it's fabulous. It's a really great movie. You've probably heard the theme song from it because it was a big single back. Anyway, we're talking about The Devil's Candy. Ethan Embry's in it. I have also seen this movie before, and very much like you, I remembered almost nothing about it. Here's what I remembered about it. There's a dude who's a painter. There's a guy who might be possessed or something going on with him. Maybe he's schizophrenic or whatever. And I remember a very loud guitar being involved. And also, and this is important, as much as I didn't remember hardly anything about it, I do very distinctly remember not liking this movie. When I saw it on the list, I was like, oh, this could be interesting. Because again, I didn't remember any of the details about it. I just very specifically remember being very unimpressed at the time that I saw it. So that's the context we went into this with. Devil's Candy. It is available on Shudder, which I didn't know. And so I watched it on free with ads YouTube, which does ads the same way Tubi does, which is to say fucking random. Just interrupt. Anyway, it's on Shudder, guys. You can watch it on Shudder. My whole podcast exists because of Shudder, and I didn't even bother to check if it was on there. Shame on me.
It's so funny because I said that I was reading the Shudder description. He went, "Wait, which description are you looking at?"
This movie is not on
Shudder
Shudder.
website.
Well, all I'm saying is apparently Google doesn't know the movie is on Shudder because I Googled where I could watch it, and Google didn't say shit.
And Google pointed you to
Get
the
your
big
SEO together,
corporation.
Sam Zimmerman.
Yes,
There's
Sam
a
Zimmerman.
tease.
I got words for you.
Get your SEO together, brother. We're coming for you. Anyway, so we're talking about The Devil's Candy. We always start with the plot summary. I'm going to go ahead and give that one to you here from IMDb because it's a little bit easier to edit down. They're both actually very similar and reasonable. Just one detail I want to leave out. So this is The Devil's Candy, 2015. A struggling painter and his young family move into their dream home in rural Texas in this creepy haunted house tale. The Devil's Candy, 2015.
Yep.
Michelle, would you like to give us your spoiler-free thoughts on The Devil's Candy?
Sure. Okay, so there's a movie that we had watched way back when we started this podcast that
Is it
I
called
did not
Bliss?
enjoy. Yes, it is. This gives me Bliss vibes. Bliss, I had a hard time watching at certain points because I can't do flashing imagery, so I had to miss the entire ending of that film and then got to go back and watch it. But this felt a lot like Bliss, except that I enjoyed it. I did not like Bliss. You can go listen to our episode. It's way back when we were starting and very, very rusty. Not that we're much better now. But I didn't enjoy it. There were some things. I found the lead character very annoying. Anyway, Devil's Candy, I enjoyed. I like a lot of the, what would you call it, like montages and like the painting interspersed with other things that are happening. I like the music. I really like the acting in this. I enjoyed the story. I do have some things that if I was going to nitpick, I would say that I did not enjoy. But overall, I mean, it's only 80 minutes. It's a good 80 minutes. I was enthralled. It's not a story I've seen told in this way many times. So, I enjoyed it. I have no really big complaints. I'm going to go with a 4.
Michelle's got 4 skulls on The Devil's Candy. I think that's an interesting way to look at the movie. I no. So as I said, I very distinctly. Well, I guess. Do you even care about my spoiler-free thoughts, Michelle?
Yeah. Why would I not?
That was a weird. Yeah. Oh my God. Now I feel like I made everything awful. Oh.
Well, now I'm like, do you
I
care
need to
about
be-
mine
I
all
need-
the time?
I need to be acknowledged like a little baby,
Oh, okay.
Michelle.
Oh,
Anyway.
because I didn't ask. My bad. Yes, JD, would you like to give us your spoiler-free thoughts? Not
would
that
love
I
to.
care, but I am
I-
obligated to ask.
I would
So-
love to, Michelle. I don't know what the
sweet.
fuck I was thinking about back then. This is a really great movie. I
Sweet.
really enjoyed this. Much like you, I wouldn't even call it nitpicking. They are things that popped up that immediately had an effect on me. But I even went the other direction and started to think, I think you're just looking for things to be upset about now. And no, there are a few moments in this that are missteps for me. There's one thing in particular that was a misstep for me. We'll talk about it in the spoilers section. But I also understand that the reason it didn't work for me is going to be very me, right? It's a very small detail thing. And it has to do with the sort of like heavy metal kind of vibe running through this whole thing, which I don't have anything against. I'm a metal fan. In fact, I think the use of music in this is really good. There are clear references in this that make it obvious that Sean Byrne, the writer director, is a fan. Right? You don't put somebody in a Sun T-shirt and have Sun on your soundtrack if you're not a fan of this stuff. But no, this was really solid. Except for a couple of things. I'm going 4.5 on this one.
Ooh, nice. 4.5 and a 4. That gives us 4.25 average.
Yeah, quick shout out again to Leo for putting this one back on my radar, because I honestly never would have given it another watch because my memory was so much like, oh, you didn't like this. And so I'm glad I got a chance to do it. I do understand, obviously, why you immediately connect it to Bliss. I do think it's a significantly different movie. But there are a couple of prime elements that make you go like, oh, this is the same story. Anyway, 4.5 for me, 4 for Michelle. That's a 4.25 average. That's not half bad, Sean Byrne of The Devil's Candy. Side note, by the way, before we get into spoilers, have you ever seen The Loved Ones?
Not off the top of
So
my head.
that's
Let me go
Sean Byrne's
Google.
movie previous to this, which I haven't seen myself, but I know by reputation as apparently just being real fucked up. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of this at all, so I'll add it to my list.
yeah, I've
This
been
does
looking
not look
around.
even a little familiar.
Yeah, it's again, I haven't seen it, but I know it by reputation, and I can tell you this much: having seen The Devil's Candy here and really enjoying it this time around, it definitely bumps The Loved Ones up on my priority list to be like, okay, you've heard about it long enough, you need to go check this one out. So
Another short movie too, only an hour and 24 minutes. So
let me
shout
tell
out
you,
for making
Sean
them
Byrne
bite-sized.
got an extra half a point on this one for no other reason than it was 80 minutes long. Thank you. I love a movie that gets in and gets out. Like, I saw 80 minutes and I was like, I don't care if I hate every second of this. It's 80 minutes. What's that extra 20 minutes makes
Oh,
all the difference.
He's got a movie coming out that's already on my list called Dangerous Animals. I think it's his next feature
His
length
next
film.
feature.
So
All
sweet.
right.
Yeah,
Sean Byrne,
so
you're
I
on
had
our
that on my
radar.
list and did not know.
Sean Byrne
Yay.
is now on our radar. That's a big deal.
Yeah, you're welcome, Sean.
You're welcome.
Byrne?
Okay,
Byrne.
we got spoiler section to get to. If you don't want to have this spoiled before you get a chance to watch it, make sure you come back after. We haven't done that gag in a while. Please make sure you come back after you pause.
Please
But
come
you're
back.
yeah, if you want to avoid the spoilers, you're gonna want to hit that pause button right about meow. Did you come back? You remember when we used to do that on every single episode because I was a crazy person and I used crutches on everything? Yeah, they're back.
I think we should bring it back. Did they come back? No, they definitely didn't come back. Let's continue the episode.
Why would
anyway.
they come back? We're 15 minutes into the episode and haven't hardly talked about the movie at all. People are
that's
like, excuse me, 20 minutes into the episode. People are like, is this even a movie podcast? Yes, it is. Devil's Candy.
Barely.
Michelle,
Yeah.
you know what's coming.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's coming by now, I mean, first of all, you're the one who started doing it, so this is all on you. I was perfectly
Yeah.
content to go the rest of our podcast life letting people like Jenna who don't watch the movies just be lost. Letting people like Frisk who can't watch the movies just be a little lost for my gleeful enjoyment. But if you would please tell these people what happens in this movie.
Absolutely. I do like to think, and I would like to do a poll for people who don't watch the movie but do listen to my summary. I am curious if it even helps at all, because I'm sure in some cases it does not. But in this case,
Of
let's see if
course,
it
in
does.
some, I would hope in most cases it does not. I was under the impression the
Oh,
ludicrousness of it was the whole point.
okay. Good. Good. I will
At least
continue
for
not
me,
contributing.
the utter ridiculousness is half the fun. At least, go ahead.
Okay, good. So Jesse, he's a guy. He's Ethan Embry, except he's fucking ripped now, and he likes music just like most people. And he's got a lady, a wife, probably. Her name's Astrid, and then they have a daughter, Zoe. Wow, what a normal American family. Except they're not normal American people. They like music and guitars and drums, all of it, the whole shebang of music they like. Jesse Hellman also likes painting, and so he's painting and he's painting butterflies, and his daughter comes in, she's like, ugh, that's not metal. Which, like, butterflies are absolutely metal. Do you know that when a caterpillar goes into the cocoon and it comes out on the other end, it retains its memory? It becomes goo when it's in that cocoon and then comes out the other side and still remembers time back before when it was a caterpillar, which means that it lived its life as goo and was reborn into a completely different creature. Try and tell me that's not metal. Like, butterflies are absolutely metal.
No,
Shut the fuck
it's
up,
not.
Zoe.
It's not metal. It's goo. You just said yourself it was goo.
Unless it's a metapod, which uses harden. So Pokemon
Oh
logic.
shit!
Anyway.
Please continue.
So they decide to buy a house, and they decide to buy a farmhouse. That's the type of house. And Jesse, he starts painting some real different stuff. He's like, butterflies aren't metal. Well, I'll show you. And so he starts putting screaming, crying faces on the butterflies. He's like, is that metal enough for you now, Zoe? And she's like, whoa, dad. She talks like that. I don't know why. Fucking teenagers. And then this guy shows up at the house, and he's a little weird. And she's like, can you please give me your guitar, sir? And she doesn't ask that, but somehow he knows. And he shows up with a guitar and an amp. And she's like, can I keep that? And Jesse's like, hell no. And then she's like, oh, I hate you. I'm a teenager. But then she has a very valid reason to hate him because he does forget her at school when she doesn't know anybody. And she's a little bit sad about that. And then she wakes up in the middle of the night, and the creepy guy who gave her the guitar, he's now in her room. And she's like, ah. And he's like, you shouldn't have accepted my guitar. He doesn't say that, but it is implied victim blaming. But then they catch the guy, and they're like, "Hey, like don't do that. We're gonna put the family in the witness protection program." Also, this guy, he thinks that kids are candy, and they're like, "What the fuck does that mean?" And they're like, "You know how Willy Wonka thought that kids were candy, and he ate them, and that's why they didn't escape the factory, and he made them into candy bars." And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Willy Wonka doesn't exist in this universe. This is an alternate universe where you don't get Willy Wonka or Timothy Chalamet's Wonka or Johnny Depp in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, whatever his version of that is called." And Jesse Hellman's like, "Can you please help us with our daughter's situation? Stop talking about this unknown candy man." And the police guy's like, "Yeah, sorry. Anyway, these are the devil's candies. Kids are candy. They're little Tootsie Pops for him." And Jesse's like, "I don't like that." And the police are like, "Man, you shouldn't." And then they go back to the house, and police officers are like, "We're gonna stand outside and keep you safe." But that fucking does not work because Ray shows up and just runs them over and pins one of the officers between the two cars. And she's like, ah, I'm completely useless. And Ray's like, I fucking know, right? What was the point of even having you stationed out here except for this grisly scene that's now happening? It may as well have just been not having somebody guarding the house at all. But the fact that you're here does mean that we get to have this whole scene where your tortured screams are resonating inside the house and upsetting this family and adding to the trauma of the situation. The police officer is like, "You've got a really good point there. Can you please move your car?" And Raid's like, "Fuck no." And then he goes in and he tries to get the family. And I can't remember what he does to Jesse. He fucks him up. I think he shoots him. Astrid, he tries to shoot her in the face. That doesn't work. He takes Zoe, he takes her outside. Well, then he comes right back in with her, and that just seems like an illogical way to perform what he's about to do. Like, just tie her someplace. I don't know. I have really big thoughts about the way that he tried to capture Zoe. We're gonna get to it. But at the end, he gets beaten to death with his own guitar, which is like uh that's music to my ears, as you might say. And then Zoe, there's a fire, and Jesse helps her get out of the fire, and now they're just like a tortured existence. Also, Jesse the painter, this whole time he's saying like he's getting these epiphanies and getting lost in the sauce and painting his shit, and he's like, oh my god, I don't like this, there's something evil going on, but god, my paintings are rad as fuck. And anyway, he's probably like Picasso now. Is Picasso the one that cut an ear off, or was that Da Vinci? Whichever. He probably
It's
cut an
Van
ear
Gogh.
off, and now he's making Van Gogh, right? The really sad sunflower man. That's probably Jesse's existence now at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean that's definitely an interpretation of the plot. You left out the part right at the end there about how there were corpses buried in the farmyard.
Yeah, didn't seem as important as my Willy Wonka rant.
That's fair. It's I mean it's only
If I had to
crucial
pick
to
one.
understanding the plot of the movie, but what could possibly be important about that, right?
Yeah, of course
Oh,
not.
fair.
I'd rather talk about Timothy Chalamet's Wonka and how he was surprisingly delightful.
Oh, well, that's one way of looking at Timothy Chalamet. Let's talk about this movie, Michelle. Man, I'm not even sure where to start. Do you have an idea of where to start? Do you have things you want to say?
I have a rant that doesn't really have a lot to do with the movie that I have to talk about. It is triggered by the movie.
Welcome,
Here's my thought.
welcome to our podcast. Yes, please go ahead.
Here's my thought. Okay, so there's a whole scene where Ray steals Zoe and puts her in a bathroom and duct tapes her poorly. And I feel like these movie villains, and also possibly the movie writers of these movie villains, they need more older siblings to either be the villain or be the writer of the villain, because as an older sibling, I'm the oldest of 5, and I know that duct tape job is insufficient to keep her in there, because I have duct taped my siblings when they have annoyed me in a way that they could not get out of, and I got grounded. So I know for a fact, because I have experience, if I had walked in there, I'd be like, Ray, what are you doing? She's gonna get out of this. Here's how you have to do it. Don't leave all this wiggle room. Unlike the caterpillar in the cocoon that's going to come out as a beautiful butterfly, we want her to stay in the cocoon, Ray. And I just feel like I need people who have been very devious to younger people who they are related to really understand how to keep these hostages in place. I don't think we have enough older siblings writing these characters, and it drives me a little nuts. Anytime they try like duct tape a person or tie him to a chair, I'm like, if you had somebody who was 5 years younger than you that you were trying to babysit and they were bothering you and you needed to keep them in place until your mother returned, you would know how to keep this person in place because you would have practice. So that's what I got to say about that.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Are you really shall we say, intelligence shaming a person with very clear and obvious mental issues?
I think he could have mental issues and also be an older sibling. And if anything, that adds to my argument that if he had mental issues like I do, then he probably would have even more of a chance of having this experience of how to properly tie somebody up.
Well, I mean,
I
first
feel like
of
that
all,
adds to the reason he should know.
First of all, he's very clearly an only child. Second
And
of
that's
all,
the problem.
well, Michelle, you're saying this movie this movie didn't have the characters it needed to make sense.
It's just a thing that I've noticed in movies. I just need a movie called The Oldest Sibling, where it's somebody who's really good at kidnapping.
Look, all I'm
Because
saying
they
is this is
know.
entirely possible. This is the very first time this fella has ever had to tape anyone up ever in his life, and he's clearly not. He's clearly dealing with some things beyond the devil screaming in his ears, right?
guess
So
that's
so maybe
fair.
maybe we don't insult the man's tape job, huh? I mean, at the end of the
I
day,
guess the fact that
at
he's
the end of-
kidnapping a child and
I
trying
was
to
gonna
murder
say,
her
Michelle,
is probably
at the
a
end,
problem.
at the end of the day, he did murder several children and not get caught. So, maybe we cut him some slack on his duct tape job, Michelle.
That's fair. I guess he has done it before, and somehow it worked in the past. I just know if I was there, I could help him out.
I actually, I am glad you brought up that. I thought that was one of the most clever things I'd ever seen, where the little girl is like, she figures out that the tape job is not great, and so what is when she rolls over, and I'm like, what the hell is she gonna do? And then I just watch her stick the tape to the bathroom floor, and I was like, you are a genius, and this is why I
actually love
would
that
die. Like, I would never stop to think about that, and that's why I would die every time I get kidnapped. Every single time.
I legitimately, I'm giving them shit. I love that scene, but I think that's why it stuck with me, because I'm like, if I was the one duct taping her because she was bothering me when I'm trying to play my video game and mom's not going to be home for 3 hours, so I know she's not going to get you out of this. For the record, I never kept my brother duct taped for 3 hours. Maybe a half hour. And I did it in the living room, and I let him watch cartoons while he was duct taped. He just couldn't get up and turn off the PlayStation anymore because I hadn't reached a save point, and he kept turning it off. Anyway, TJ, love you. So glad that we're friends now. But growing up was different.
Oh, that's fabulous. This is what happens on this podcast when we don't have a lot of complaints about the movie. There's one big thing, and I have to provide the context for it. I talked in the spoiler-free section, and you've actually made mention of this already. But so I'm a lifetime heavy metal music fan, right? Since I was an early teenager, I've been around, and not just like more popular sort of mainstream stuff, like a lot of very small. I get into it, right? I got some deep.
Have you heard Tool?
Going. Anyway, so the thing about it is I love metal, right? And I really appreciate when somebody makes a movie that makes, because like metal subculture and metal fans very often are stereotyped and pigeonholed as a certain type of person, and certain types of thing. Also like certain, there's a it's one of those things where when you're in it, you can tell it's being written by somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, right? This is clearly not that. This is clearly, but as a person who's been in that world for a while, there are also elements of it that, frankly, are cheesy as fuck, right? And I'm not even talking about, like, in the glam stuff. I even mean in, like, the evil, like, black metal Satan shit. It's just fucking ridiculous, right? Just grown-ass men running around in face paint screaming about the devil. If you can't see the inherent fun absurdity in that and you take it too seriously, I don't know what to tell you. But this is a tense movie, right? Like, there's some fucked up stuff happening here. Like, kids are getting murdered. Guys getting potentially possessed by the devil. It's like not just murdered, but hacked up into little pieces. It's an intense movie. And for me, as someone who has been exposed to so much cheesy metal shit, that whole moment where it suddenly just drops into slow motion and there's this big triumphant music hit, and he comes jumping up behind the guy with the goddamn flying V guitar like an axe and just smashes him to death with this metal guitar, and then the neck breaks and he stabs him through the chest, and there's like all these huge guitar hits. It was just, to me, it was a bridge too far on the hamminess, right? It was a sudden explosion of cheese where I didn't want cheese. And as much as I love cheese, the few places where it doesn't belong, it really doesn't belong for my palate. And so there was a moment there where this movie almost lost me. I was I literally was looking at my screen and I was like, oh man, don't end like this. And then of course it didn't. That's not remotely a climactic moment. There's still a bunch of stuff that happens afterward. The only other nitpick I have about this is it pretty clearly looked like Jesse got shot through and through in the chest
Yeah.
he very likely has a lung punctured. There's no way he gets off that floor.
There's
No
no way
way.
he survives a fire when he already has a lung puncture and he's inhaling even more smoke.
Well, and I'm
Yeah,
saying
I totally thought
you don't
he.
even get there because he would like once he's shot,
Oh, of course not.
he's dead, and I actually really liked that idea because they very
Me
much are
too.
playing this to be like a, oh, dad comes to the rescue, and I definitely something that surprised. I'm surprised he survived. I definitely thought the dad was gonna die saving his family, right? Because that's where a lot
100%.
of movies would take this. So I like that that didn't happen, but for a moment there, I was really like, oh, holy shit, did they really just fucking like kill him off that easy and he's just gone now? Like that was a really powerful moment to me because you're expecting this big climate and you get the finish you were expecting in a lot of ways, except he doesn't die. But for a moment I was like, man, this movie just went deep.
I actually have something to say about that because I forgot to write it in my notes, but I really thought he died. And a big part of this movie is about Zoe, and I thought that was going to be the shift where it is just her movie, and now both her parents are dead. I thought her mom was actually going to get
Yep.
shot,
Yep.
and she was going to have to save herself, and I was really looking forward to that being the case. The fact that they're like a full family that survive and they have a happy ending. Okay. I think I'm just used to like a grimmer
Yeah.
story, and I like the dark stories, and I like when somebody is responsible for their own fate and like nobody is coming to save you. This is up to you now, and like you got to be a strong ass bitch and defeat this guy. I was looking forward to that. I don't have a complaint other than, like you said, it's probably illogical that he winds up saving her. But I would have preferred if we went in the other direction. I think that would have been such a cool change in the story and something that made this even more unique because I did like the slow motion parts. I didn't have any issue with them. I thought they were kind of cool. I like those stylistic choices.
It
One
it
of my
wasn't
favorite
even.
parts of this movie.
No,
Mhm.
go
Oh,
ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he's painting and it's interspersed with Ray's hacksaw and Ray mopping up blood. And
Yes.
those things in this movie are why I like it so much. So when it goes like slow motion, I'm like, I've seen it before, but I don't mind. It's doing a pretty thing. I like looking at it. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's not the slow motion in itself that was a problem for me. It was the combination of all the elements, right?
Hmm.
Because I've seen so many cheesy versions of that in other contexts of just some wild metal dude just jumping up. Like there's a video game where the guy has an axe that's like what some I don't even remember what it's called, but it was like what is it? Gods of Metal or something. I don't remember, but the dude fights with a battle axe guitar. It reminded me of that sort of cheesy metalocalypse kind of attitude for just a moment.
Mm.
And
Okay, that's fair.
I'm glad it just happened for just a moment. Uh yeah, I man, there was something I wanted to mention. Oh, the other nitpick I have about this is also well, it must not have been a big nitpick because I've just completely brain farted on it and I don't even remember what I was going to say, so I'm not even going to mention it.
Okay. I also had a thing that right when you said that you forgot your thing, then I forgot my thing. And now, oh, no, mine came back. Mine came back. Now that I say that,
Most
I
people
was
would edit
debating whether
this.
I should even. I'm like, oh, should I even say this? And that's why it went away because I was like, you should not say that. But now we've spent too long. I have to tell you a thought that I have in my head.
Say it.
I sometimes I do things that have no they take me a little bit and they're just for like one person's benefit, and I think I might do a thing with this movie. For example, just to tell you things I've done in the past, I had made a meme specifically for you that said we live in a society, and it was the scene from Society where they're all like
The
melting into one
shunting.
another. Yeah, and it was just like a thing that I did because I was like, I gotta get this out of my head. And a friend of mine is like super thirsty for Pedro Pascal, and I was watching his Hot Ones episode, and I screen recorded it, and then made her a little montage that I'm pretty sure she masturbated to. So like sometimes I just do things that take a little bit too much effort, but like I think they're funny. This movie. I think I might have to take certain clips and make a different version where everything is exactly the same. Except the little girl is obsessed with Lana Del Rey, and it's only Lana Del Rey songs every time there should be a metal song where she like walks in and she looks at the butterflies and she's like, Dad, butterflies? That's not very Del Rey. And I think I might do that now. And when she's like playing the guitar really hardcore on her, oh no, better yet, Vanessa Carlton, A Thousand Miles. When she's playing the guitar really hardcore because she's so excited that she got it, it's just gonna be but on the guitar. So I think I'm gonna do that because I have to get it out of my head now. And now I regret saying it, but it's out there in the world. So.
No, that's I kind of almost feel like that's something I need to see. But
Okay, well, if two people will benefit from it, well, shit, I guess I gotta.
awesome. I do want to thank you for going off on that little tirade, though, because it allowed me to remember the thing I was going to talk about, and it was not, in fact, a nitpick. It's something that I really wanted to compliment this movie on. It's another perfect example of the power of suggestion in horror, right? Like, aside from a couple of low light CGI rock to the head moments, most of the gore and violence and severity in this movie is implied, right? He murders and chops up a kid and puts him in a suitcase and buries them in the yard. Not once do you ever see a single part of that kid's body but the implication of its blood. They never need you to see that kid getting cut up. They never, like at the end when he finds the corpses, when he finds the suitcases in the ground, there's never a moment where they open them up. In that moment in the end, I love how much it trusts its viewers to just get what's happening. A lesser movie would have had this exposition scene where they say out loud, "Oh, we found the corpses of the kids in your yard, and it was the spirits of those kids reaching out to you, trying to inspire you to help figure out this thing that's happening," or whatever. Yeah, we get it. And I love how they did that. Like, they just show it, and it's like, oh, cool. Because what I love about the story of this movie is I genuinely believed all the way through. I was waiting for the moment where we figure out, why is the devil trying to get inside this dude's head the same way he's inside the other dude's head? And it's not the devil at all. You know, it's just this, it's like, oh, it wasn't the same thing. It was a totally different thing. And the devil, so this is part of what I love about this, Michelle. Did you get, so in the scene where the art dealer comes to visit him right before the little girl gets kidnapped because he has that crazy blowout and he's late as it is. Mm-hmm. Like his studio name is, or his company name that represents people is Belial, right? Like that's a demonic reference. Did you get the impression that art representative was in fact the devil?
Ooh, no.
And he was there having that meeting with him to keep him from going to find his daughter because his daughter is what he wants. Like even the Ray, the killer, says that he wants it to be you, but I didn't want to do that to you because you're my friend. You get me because of the guitar thing, right? It's actually a really well crafted story, which I was really impressed by, and I love that. They don't spoon feed a lot to you. They trust you to get it. From a storytelling perspective, yeah, this was really good. Just a few little. I even find it possible that whole thing with him getting shot is more a matter of it. They never meant for him to look like he got shot in the chest, and that's just how the special effects worked out. but I did definitely like there was a lot of blood underneath him, and that
and he also
looked
didn't
like
move for a very long time.
not like down and like because like his mother gets shot or the mother gets shot as well, right? But she comes crawling out of the closet. I was very much convinced he was dead, and and like I know they're going for that big moment where he needs to save his child, and so it brings him back from the brink. But it's just a little shaky on that part, and that's why I say it's definitely nitpicks. But no, it's fantastic story, really well executed. I love how they made the visuals work to their advantage. You're right, that scene where it's cutting back and forth between him working on the painting and Ray cutting the kid up in the bathroom. Really, really incredible bit of montage work. Really excellent editing.
Yes. The little girl, completely unrelated, but the girl who played Zoe, Kiara Glasgow.
She was awesome.
I am a huge Emily Browning fan, and I totally thought this was her daughter or something. They look identical.
I don't know who Emily Browning is.
Well, the one that she is probably unfortunately mostly known for is Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I only saw that movie once and refused to see it again.
Sleeping Beauty. I'm trying to remember what else. Now that I'm on the spot, I'm having a hard time. But I really enjoy her. Ghost Ship. She was a little girl in Ghost Ship. That was my first introduction to her. I love Ghost Ship.
I have never seen Ghost Ship.
The little girl. You haven't seen it? Oh, shit.
No.
There's a pretty good musical montage in that one.
She's in American Gods.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. That's where I know her from.
Anyway, the little girl looked so much like her that I had to go look up whether they were related or something. That's all. For people who know Emily Browning, and that little girl, identical. It's crazy.
Yeah, the girl who played Zoe, what is it, Kiara Glasgow? Yeah.
Yep.
She is fantastic. There are two scenes in particular that really knocked me out. And the first one is that scene where Jesse first blacks out making the painting and misses going to pick her up, and it's nighttime, and she is tone perfect in that, right? She's just no. And the other one that is honestly so good a moment that it really got to me for a second there is at the end when it's just her and her mom in the house because dad is out in the studio destroying the painting and Ray has come back and he's banging on the door and there's the screaming outside. Or no, it's not even the banging, it's the screaming outside. I thought he had set somebody on fire because they had that moment with the gas tank and the lighter previously, so when I started to hear the screaming, but then even the prefigure, God, the more I talk about it, the more I really, really like this movie. But even the prefiguring of like they put the two cops on either side of the screen with the cars in between them just to give you that frame of reference. There's even a small detail here that I really like where they never talk about it. It's just a small hint there in that scene when they're loading up the trunk and then they close it and the one cop is on the hood of the one car and the lady cop is on the trunk. There's just a hint of interaction there where they make it very clear that they're not just coworkers, there's something personal between them. And then they both die in terrible ways. But to bring it back around in that sequence, when they're standing there and Mama's going towards the door, the way she backs up into that corner and makes it look like she is trying to physically push her body through and into the wall because she's trying that hard to get away. Like, I know that feeling, right? Like, that was, again, just tone perfect. I definitely need to find out what else I can see her in because she was fantastic. Also, yes, Ethan Embry fucking shredded. When did that happen?
I know.
Jesus.
I know, Preston, what are you doing? Preston? I forgot what he's calling Cam.
Jesus.
I have no complaints about this movie. I think if it had done like something very small differently, it probably would have been a 5 for me. It's a 4, and it's a very respectable 4. Love this movie. I forgot that I had the director's upcoming Dangerous Animals on my list already, and now I'm bumping that up way higher on my anticipated movies list.
Yeah.
Never seen yet.
Again, big shout out to Leo for putting this one on our radar. Because yeah, I'm really, and again, it's also very much bumped up my urgency to finally get around to seeing The Loved Ones, because I have been told that movie is twisted. And
love that.
I guess we're gonna find out. So that's Devil's Candy. That's, I guess I say the Devil's Candy. I did feel like that title and all of like that small element felt really tacked on. Like it almost seemed like an unnecessary detail, because they never mention it at all until that one scene where he like drags some sweat off her forehead and tastes it, and he's like, "Oh, you really are the sweetest candy." And I'm like, that would, like, if there had been some reference to that anywhere before that, but it got there and it's like it just made it feel like they had just sort of added that on, or maybe at some point this got rewritten to a degree where they maybe should have considered changing the title. But that's, again, just a stupid nitpick detail.
Yeah, I don't agree, but that's okay.
Well,
don't have
fine. Anyway, that's The Devil's Candy, guys. Check it out if you haven't, and even though we've already spoiled everything, really good stuff.
There's no way they could see it. You gotta go use your eyeballs to see some of that stuff.
Yeah, you can do it on Shudder though. You don't have to go watch
Not
it
on
free with
YouTube.
ads on YouTube. You don't have to pay to rent it because you've already got your Shudder subscription. Oh wait, you don't have a Shudder subscription? What are you even doing with your life? They don't pay us
Also,
a dime.
we are not paid or affiliated with Shudder, and they probably dislike us
but
because we sometimes criticize their catalog.
but yeah, it's if you're any kind of a horror fan at all and you're not subscribed to Shudder, look, it's $6 a month. If you find one good movie a month that you really enjoyed, it's paid for itself. I haven't done
Even cheaper if you do the annual.
Yeah.
It's like 40 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Okay.
Anyway, Sam
I got nothing else
Zimmerman,
to say.
we're coming for you. You better watch them keywords, brother.
He doesn't know. Don't tell him.
Guys, there's probably like 6 of you maybe who know anything at all about online marketing, but Michelle has us on a click-through rate of 12.3% with nothing but organic search stuff. So, if you know if you know even anything at all about, if you know what a CTR is, you know that 12.3% is fucking nuts.
That's the thing that we don't want to teach in schools because it's racist, right? Critical theory race.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's
On that note-
actually cathode ray tube.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like TVs. Are you even old enough to remember tube TVs, Michelle?
Yes, unfortunately. I had a very
Oh,
large one for a long time.
Unfortunately, she's old enough. Oh.
I got my fingers stuck under one and I thought I broke them.
God.
That's why it's unfortunately.
That's
it was
fair.
heavy. I'm
Yeah.
glad I don't have it anymore.
What are we watching next week,
Okay.
Michelle? Isn't it a new Shudder release next week finally?
Yeah.
Exuma. I don't want to say specifically because I don't know.
No.
I know it's Asian of some sort. I don't
Yep.
know if it's Japanese or Korean or but it's some kind of
We'll find out.
Asian, and I'm excited because I've heard a lot of buzz about it, and also I just love movies, and it's gonna be fun. And it's 1:00 in the afternoon, and I got to work in 2 hours. That's not
Well,
fun.
shit. Well, shit. I'm going to go listen to the Tool discography while I take care of my graveyard.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in once again, and make sure you check out the website. And Michelle, how many squelches are on the Squelch files now?
1,300 something. I think 1,328, if I had to think.
That's I'm legitimately going to be contacting Guinness to see what it would take to be certified as having the largest squelching subtitle collection in the world. Now, this is a record that doesn't exist, and their website states
Most
that if
Guinness
it's a record that
don't.
it says if it's a record that doesn't exist, what they will do is consider what you're trying to do and establish what they feel is a reasonable standard to be worthy of a Guinness World Record holder title that other people can then attempt to surpass. So we're going to find
I can
out.
beat it, whatever
Right.
it is.
No, it doesn't exist yet. We're setting. We're
I know.
Oh, you're saying okay?
I'm
yeah,
saying
we're gonna.
whatever goal they
whatever-
set, that
whatever
they say
Guinness-
this is a reasonable.
I gotcha. Yeah. So guys, we're gonna try to have a Guinness World Record.
Yep. And I will
well,
print them
not
out
even
if that's
us.
what it requires.
Michelle is going to possibly have a Guinness World. Michelle, how would that make you feel to just suddenly, like, with no plan whatsoever, just on a stupid screen grab that I pulled out of Glorious, just at random because I thought it was
Not
hilarious.
glorious. The super deep.
The Super Deep, excuse me. Yeah, I
Super
thought
Deep.
I thought it was fantastic that there was just this completely pitch black screen and noise, and then it just said squelching at the bottom. And now Michelle may soon have a Guinness World Record.
That'd be so cool. 2-time Spelling Bee champion, 2016 HBR Best Comedian award, and then Guinness Book of World Record holder. Let's
Guinness
fucking
World
do it.
Record holder Michelle Roller.
Squelches.
I will have to. I'll
So
start
cool.
introducing you as. This is my co-host, Guinness World Record holder Michelle Roller.
Yes, please.
That'd be pretty
Guinness,
great.
we're coming for you. We're coming. I have so many more squelches to collect, and
Oh,
I
God.
have a list of ones that I just have to go get. So I'm prepared
That's
to grow my number.
fabulous.
At this point, it's just for fun, though.
How
So,
many more do you feel like are available on the list that you have right now?
At least 400.
Oh,
And
lovely.
that's assuming each property only has one in it.
over 400
lot of them have
titles.
more. Yes, 400 titles. I'd have to go look and see how many have multiple squelches.
It's gonna go down as the text message that rocked the world. It's just,
Yeah.
I kicked over a domino that has started a complete fucking avalanche, and it's fabulous.
Listen, if you're a filmmaker, and you're listening to this, if you came here from the Chicago Horror Film Festival or you found us, just you're like searching for stuff, and you make a film, specifically put something squelchy in there so that the subtitle can say squelching or squelches or squelched or squelch. And I will put you in my squelch files. You will be a part of the Guinness Book of World Records with me.
I love that we're just
your movie will be
assuming
in
we're already gonna have it. That's so great.
I'm going. There's no way. I guess like somebody at Netflix might have a hookup and they can just look at the captions and easily do it. But fuck them. I'm doing it manually. Full set.
Also, who's gonna care enough to try, right? Who's gonna care
There's a
more than
version
us?
of me at Netflix. I know there's somebody like me who works at a big streaming service, and it's they're gonna come for me and fuck them. I'll beat 'em. This is
that's
my
fair.
claim to fame. When I die, put squelching or a hashtag squelching on my tombstone, please. I do
Hashtag
want to be
squelching.
cremated, but I do also want a
No.
tombstone just so that I can say things.
It's not gonna say hashtag squelching, Michelle. It's just gonna be bracket squelching bracket, like the subtitle down at the bottom.
Good point.
Down
Michelle
at the
Roller and
bottom.
then squelching.
So and so to so and so, loving wife, dog mom, and crazy person, squelching.
Yeah, and 2-time Spelling Bee champion. Michelle
Two-time
Roller.
spelling bee
Realized 2-time
champion
Spelling Bee
and
champion.
Guinness World Record holder, squelching.
Yeah.
Michelle, I have to
Squelching.
pee, so we have to wrap this up. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShutter.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShutter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShutter.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShutter.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.